Obtaining a UL listing for a device such as an electric pickle necessitates a comprehensive understanding of product safety standards and classifications. The primary question revolves around whether the device is considered a light fixture or a cooking appliance, as the applicable UL standards differ significantly between these categories. Firstly, let's address the criteria for a light fixture. UL Standard 1598 covers luminaires, which are complete lighting units consisting of a lamp or lamps together with the parts designed to distribute the light to position and protect the lamps, and to connect the lamps to the power supply. If the electric pickle functions primarily as a source of illumination and incorporates elements such as a bulb or LED to produce light, it may fall under this classification. Several factors will influence this determination, one being the design and construction of the device. It must meet stringent requirements for electrical insulation, wiring methods, and protection against fire and electric shock. For example, the wiring must be of an appropriate gauge and insulation rating to handle the voltage and current involved. Connections must be secure and properly insulated to prevent short circuits. The enclosure must be constructed of materials that are resistant to heat and flame. Secondly, let's consider the classification as a cooking appliance. UL Standard 197 covers commercial electric cooking appliances. If the electric pickle is designed to heat or cook food items, even if the pickle itself is the primary food item, it may be categorized as a cooking appliance. This classification brings a new set of safety considerations. The device must be designed to prevent overheating, and it needs to have appropriate thermal controls to regulate the cooking temperature. Materials used in the construction must be food grade and able to withstand high temperatures without degrading or leaching harmful chemicals. There needs to be adequate protection against burns for the user. The electrical components must be shielded from moisture and food spills. UL requires rigorous testing to ensure that the appliance can operate safely under various conditions, including prolonged use and potential misuse. Now, let's delve into the process of obtaining a UL listing. Firstly, the manufacturer must submit a sample of the electric pickle to a UL-approved testing laboratory. This lab will conduct a series of tests based on the applicable UL standards. These tests may include electrical safety tests such as HIPAA testing to verify insulation strength, ground continuity testing to ensure proper grounding, and leakage current testing to measure any stray current that could pose a shock hazard. Secondly, flammability tests are conducted to assess the device's resistance to fire. Materials are exposed to flames to determine their burning rate and whether they produce excessive smoke or toxic fumes. Thirdly, mechanical strength tests are performed to evaluate the device's ability to withstand physical stress. This may involve drop tests, impact tests, and vibration tests to simulate the conditions encountered during normal use and handling. Fourthly, temperature tests are carried out to measure the temperature of various components under normal and abnormal operating conditions. This helps to ensure that the device does not overheat and pose a fire hazard. If the electric pickle passes all of these tests, UL will issue a listing. The listing mark indicates that the product has been evaluated and meets UL safety requirements. However, it's essential to maintain compliance with UL requirements on an ongoing basis. UL conducts periodic factory inspections to ensure that the manufacturer continues to produce the product in accordance with the listing requirements. Any changes to the design or materials of the product must be reviewed and approved by UL. It's also important to be aware of the legal implications of selling a product that does not meet applicable safety standards. In many jurisdictions, it is illegal to sell electrical products that have not been properly certified. Furthermore, manufacturers can be held liable for damages if their products cause injury or property damage due to safety defects. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidance on the safe installation and use of electrical equipment. While the NEC does not directly address product certification, it does reference UL standards and other safety standards. Compliance with the NEC is essential for ensuring the safe installation and operation of electrical devices. For example, NEC Section 110.3 covers examination, identification, installation, and use of equipment. It requires that electrical equipment be installed and used in accordance with the instructions included in a listing or labeling. This means that if the electric pickle is listed as a light fixture, it must be installed in accordance with the NEC requirements for light fixtures. Similarly, if it is listed as a cooking appliance, it must be installed in accordance with the NEC requirements for cooking appliances. Furthermore, NEC Article 400 covers flexible cords and cables. This article specifies the types of cords and cables that are permitted for use in various applications. If the electric pickle uses a flexible cord for power supply, the cord must comply with the requirements of Article 400. NEC Article 410 covers luminaires, lamp holders, and lamps. This article provides detailed requirements for the installation of light fixtures, including mounting methods, wiring connections, and clearances from combustible materials. If the electric pickle is classified as a light fixture, it must comply with the requirements of Article 410. NEC Article 422 covers appliances. This article provides requirements for the installation of cooking appliances, including grounding requirements, overcurrent protection, and disconnect means. If the electric pickle is classified as a cooking appliance, it must comply with the requirements of Article 422. Let's consider the specific electrical characteristics of the electric pickle. Firstly, the voltage rating. The device must be designed to operate at the voltage level of the electrical system to which it will be connected. In the United States, the standard voltage for residential circuits is 120 volts. For commercial and industrial applications, other voltages such as 208 volts, 277 volts, or 480 volts may be used. The electric pickle must be designed to operate at one of these voltage levels. Secondly, the current rating. The device must be able to handle the amount of current that it will draw under normal operating conditions. The current rating is typically expressed in amps. The wiring and other electrical components of the device must be sized appropriately to handle the current. Thirdly, the wattage rating. The wattage rating is the amount of power that the device consumes. It is calculated by multiplying the voltage by the current. The wattage rating is important for determining the size of the circuit breaker or fuse that is needed to protect the circuit. Fourthly, the grounding requirements. The electric pickle must be properly grounded to protect against electric shock. Grounding provides a low resistance path for fault current to flow back to the source, causing the circuit breaker or fuse to trip and energize the circuit. The grounding conductor must be connected to the metal enclosure of the device and to the grounding system of the building. In addition to UL listing and NEC compliance, there may be other regulatory requirements that apply to the electric pickle. For example, the device may need to comply with energy efficiency standards, such as those established by the Department of Energy. It may also need to comply with environmental regulations, such as those related to the disposal of electronic waste. It is important to research and comply with all applicable regulatory requirements to ensure that the electric pickle can be legally sold and used. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer or product safety expert is highly recommended. These professionals can provide guidance on the applicable standards and regulations and can assist with the design and testing of the device to ensure that it meets all requirements. They can also help with the process of obtaining UL listing or other certifications. Let's elaborate further on the materials used in the construction of the electric pickle. Firstly, the enclosure material. The enclosure material must be durable, non-conductive, and resistant to heat and flame. Common materials used for enclosures include plastics, metals, and composites. The choice of material will depend on the specific application and the environmental conditions to which the device will be exposed. Secondly, the wiring material. The wiring material must be able to carry the required current without overheating. Common wiring materials include copper and aluminum. The wire gauge must be sized appropriately to handle the current. The insulation must be rated for the voltage and temperature of the application. Thirdly, the lamp or heating element. If the electric pickle uses a lamp for illumination, the lamp must be of a type that is approved for use in luminaires. If the device uses a heating element for cooking, the heating element must be designed to provide uniform heating and prevent overheating. Fourthly, the control components. The control components, such as switches, thermostats, and timers, must be of a type that is approved for use in electrical appliances. They must be rated for the voltage and current of the application. They must be designed to operate reliably and safely. Let's consider the potential hazards associated with the electric pickle. Firstly, electric shock. There is a risk of electric shock if the device is not properly grounded or if the insulation is damaged. To mitigate this hazard, the device must be properly grounded and the insulation must be regularly inspected for damage. Secondly, fire. There is a risk of fire if the device overheats or if there is a short circuit. To mitigate this hazard, the device must be designed to prevent overheating and it must be protected by a circuit breaker or fuse. Thirdly, burns. There is a risk of burns if the device is used to cook food. To mitigate this hazard, the device must be designed to prevent excessive temperatures and users must be warned about the risk of burns. Fourthly, food contamination. There is a risk of food contamination if the device is not properly cleaned or if it is made of materials that are not food grade. To mitigate this hazard, the device must be easy to clean and it must be made of materials that are approved for food contact. In conclusion, obtaining a UL listing for an electric pickle involves a thorough evaluation of the device's design, construction, and performance. It is essential to understand the applicable UL standards, comply with the National Electrical Code, and address all potential hazards. Consulting with qualified professionals is highly recommended to ensure that the device meets all safety requirements.